stage of the screen printing demonstration is to use the same principle as the paper stencil, but to create a stencil using vinyl. And this you can buy in the rollers, you can see. You need the cutting tools that we had before, so the knife, we've got our stencil ready here, squeegee, inks, tracing paper, and our visual images, the light box, and we'll have the screen in a minute. So, starting with the visual images, this screen print is going to be a slightly more complex image in that it's combining two images. The angel heads, again very typical of Ethiopian art, and the umbrellas and the scene that we've had in previous images. And I'm going to use the qualities of the screen printing media to create a more abstract design. I've taken elements of the pots, the plants, the angel heads, and I've built up a pattern-like quality using watercolour pencils. I've tried to, in some way, to capture the transparent quality that you will get with the screen printing ink. So a light box is very helpful. It's not essential because you can use tracing paper, but it is quite helpful to see the image, and I would recommend, if you've got a light box in the department, that's something that will come in handy. So I've then put over that tracing paper, and I've traced off key images, the pot, the angel wings, and they are going to be a terracotta colour. So I'm going to be cutting away the stencils. And again, I'm going to use safe cutting methods. I've cut out quite a bit of this already, and this is a lot easier to cut than the paper stencil, and it is a more robust method. It isn't as robust as photo stencil, however many schools don't have that resource. We need to peel off the white paper inside, and we're going to be left with green backing tape. That can be quite a tricky manoeuvre, and to help keep the stencil together, where in places where it's a little flimsy, I'm going to add some stencil tape. It will hold it together while it's being adhered to the screen. So now my stencil is ready, and I'm now ready to adhere it to the screen. There's no particularly easy way of doing this. It's a matter of peeling off the backing. Now I tend to do it a bit at a time. So what I often do is just cut the backing away as I go. So I can now adhere this piece where I've marked it. The danger is if you do it in one fell swoop, it can start sticking to itself. So you want it flattened down as you go. What I will do when I've adhered it is just go with the tape around the edges. I'm just rubbing it all over just to make sure that all the elements of the stencil are really well adhered to the screen. Get my paper centred up, and I'm just going to masking tape. First of all, I need to get the ink onto the screen. Turn the squeegee round and press. So if you look at my design, the second colour is going to be the black. We've got our terracotta colour printed out, our terracotta wings and pots, and we're going to print the black face and some details on the terracotta pots next. The important thing is to make sure that the black ends up where we want it to go. So that's called registration in screen printing and in any form of printing. I've got the vinyl stencil already stuck onto the screen. I've taped up the screen both front and back. And what I've got here is a piece of tracing paper. I've got some newsprint there, which you'll see we're going to need in a minute. And I'm going to bring that tracing paper over. I'm going to make my first print onto the tracing paper, and that is going to enable me to register my prints. Now flood my screen with ink and print. So I've got my registration on my tracing paper, and I've got a print under here. I'll just hold that down with a bit of masking tape again. So we've now got two colours from this design on our prints. Using the same technique as we used before, I've put in place a piece of tracing paper attached with masking tape to the edge of the board. So I've added my green and I'm ready to squeegee it on. So into my screen and then and we've got our registration on the tracing paper. So I'm now going to place my image on the board, line up my registration, masking tape it in place, we've got an explosion of green. Looking at our four colour print, terracotta, black, green and yellow, we've now got three of the colours on the print, and we're now going to put on the yellow, which is going to give a more abstract quality to the print. I've got my tracing paper in place and print. Now the ink is transparent, so you should be able to see the other colours through the ink. That's exciting. There's my final print with four colours.